So seeing those 2, 3, and unknown was unexpected when we said that the choice should be 2. Well, let's eliminate this if-else option first. I'll just use multi-line comment to comment out this entire if-else structure. Something like that. So using slash asterisk makes it commented out. By the way, at the end I need to do asterisk slash again to create a multi-line comment. Perhaps I'm going to need this part later on. But what happens is that the choice was 2. We jump to case 2. So I can run it again to demonstrate. So enter a number. Again, I'm typing 2. And so the choice is 2. So this output was expected. But then also 3 and unknown were also printed. It means that the case label, so the performance of the switch statement is somewhat primitive. What it does is that it only transfers control to a particular case label. It says, okay, if you type something, I'm going to transfer that control to that particular place. And it doesn't stop there. It executes this statement as expected, but then it falls through and executes the next statement, and then it falls through again and keeps on going. So it's very advisable to routinely, as you know how to type the case labels, to routinely also type the break statements. The break statement takes you out of your switch statement. And that should be the default structure for your switch statement program. Even in the default, you can use that as well. By the way, a common misconception about the default label that it needs to be the last one. It doesn't have to be the last one. I may decide that case 1 should be my default case. And in that case, if I control X and move it to the top, right here, I can basically just say, well, you know what? In every instance where it's not, 2 or 3, I'm just going to type 1, right? So let me demonstrate. So if I run this, enter a number, 20, right? And it prints 1 because it jumps to the default label, which does not correspond to 1, 2, or 3, and it executes this print statement, and it jumps out of the switch statement. If I, yes.
How come it, well, okay, so it jumps to case 1 from default. Does that
It basically jumped to the default, and then it fell through.
Right.
And it executed this. And then it stopped.
If you didn't want to have that default, have some other statements there, you'd have to use a break statement in the default as well?
Yes, of course. Right. I could do something like this. Like I used to have an unknown. And the break statement also. Right. So this time I'm expecting to see unknown if I type something other than 1, 2, or 3. So this time 33 right here. It says unknown. Next, the default is optional. So I just got rid of it. I got rid of my default option. And I run it, and this time if I type 33 again or 22, nothing happens. Because I'm not even taking into any of these case labels. The default is missing, so nothing is happening inside switch. It finds that the choice does not correspond to any of the labels, and that is the end of the story. Let me switch from integer to yet another possibility. Let's try a character. Next char. So get character. What is it? Can I use the scanner to get next byte? There is a next byte. Next short. Let's do, yeah, let's, yeah, let's do next byte instead, I guess. Next byte, next byte, and use a byte, which is a smaller integer, right? So then again, switch will compile just fine if you use an integer or a byte. If you try a long, um, the switch will not be happy. So if I save this and run it, actually not run it, but rather try to explicitly build it, just to see what the error messages were. So it tells me, number 12 right here, um, possible loss of precision, switch choice. Required integer, found long. So long is too big for a switch. Switch is not capable of making a switch based on the long value. So just to know that not every single integer will be used, will be okay to use there. So the long is too big for a switch. Here's something interesting. The latest version of Java, 1.7 version, came with an option to use a string. String choice, just say next, just to get the next token from the input stream. And then what's required is that, of course, integer no longer matches case 1, 2, or 3, no longer matches the string. So this has to be it. So I can say yes. Then I can say yes, lowercase, maybe, right? To say you entered yes. Okay. Then I can similarly say in my switch statement that for the situation where they say no or lowercase no, I will say you said no, right? Um, and here, let me get rid of case 3 altogether. So again, notice the usefulness of having multiple case labels sitting right next to each other, so you can compound multiple choices into like one executable piece here, and that's pretty useful because now I can type uppercase yes or lowercase yes. So by the way, don't feel like all you have to do is, or all you can do is to type just one statement here. There could be many statements typed here, right? So one thing's to be aware of that sometimes you use braces such as you could group statements together by simply using a set of braces, and you can group all of this together. Switch doesn't require it. So, but be aware that you probably know that if you declare an integer dummy right here equals 0, then obviously if you have a set of braces, it creates a local scope for local variables declared and introduced into the scope inside this. So if right here I will say dummy equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, obviously you realize that, okay, this should be an error simply because the dummy was declared inside the local scope braces. So block statement, which starts here and ends right here, introduces the dummy variable, and clearly it becomes undefined down here. But a warning here is that if you get rid of the braces, right, Uh, there is a there is a possibility. Well, actually, right now it doesn't seem to be a possibility. But let me save it. Let me try to run it. Enter a number. Let's say. Oh, I'm still saying number, but I'll type yes, right? So you entered yes. It typed all of this, right? And it just exited out. So apparently, if you declare it here, it still gets declared, and you can still use it down there. I just wanted to try this example. In other programming languages, this will not be permitted. I would also uh, say that it's nice to have string to be one of the uh, values accepted by the switch statement. But be careful that this will not be portable to C or C++ platform, which also has a switch statement, but only permits integers or characters in place of the value given to the switch. So strings will not work well in that environment. Yes, question.
Can you use multiple variables in a switch? Like if this variable or this variable?
Yes, I mean all that has to happen here is that you need to come up with integer expression. I mean, I could just combine my choice with 100 or with some other variable, like I don't know, base number or something like that. So you can combine, but the outcome has to be that you need to have one value that will be evaluated by the switch statement. If you need to combine, if your logical expression has to, it goes pretty much outside of one integer value, then you have to use if-else construct. Yes, another question. Yes.